Alright, so let's talk about happiness, okay? Let's be a hypocrite here and talk about something I don't practice. I practice it often, but not as much as I should, but I think this works. I think this works. Because this is something that I used whenever I got depressed, when I was learning to approach women. Depression hits too hard when you get rejected. And so that's one of the biggest hurdles on how to overcome depression and the fear of rejection. Because once you overcome the fear of rejection, you're more relaxed. You're not looking for an outcome. You're enjoying the moment more. So as a result, through learning how to talk to girls, I kind of, in a way, figured out the things that actually makes you happy. Not the ephemeral things, the ones that are fleeting, you know. Not the ones that just go after you get the pleasure and leave and actually leave pain behind. No, the things that actually stay. The things that have meaning. And so this video, I'm going to show you some of the practical things that I did that helped me find happiness. And it's pretty, like, it's not even finding happiness, but we'll get to that. This is very important because women who are happy are more attractive. Yeah. I mean, you could be moody. We don't mind moody, but just be happy when you're normal. Because when you are happy, you're generally in a better mood. People like people in better moods, right? And that definitely helps your dating life because when you're unhappy, you're more needy. And when you're more needy, you give off unattractive traits. And the people who even react to that neediness, you don't want to be around them because they're reacting to neediness. They're reacting to what's in them. You see? That's why you got to work what's in yourself before you look for it in somebody else. Alright? So, how do you do that? You first got to practice one simple concept. And this is very similar to the book Radical Acceptance, called Radical Acceptance. It's accepting everything and saying yes to it. It's not about saying you're in debt and saying, yes, I'm in debt, I'm going to deal with being in debt. No, we're talking about you're accepting what you can do and accepting what you can do and accepting what you cannot do. All right. It's similar to being, like I always say, it's similar to being in traffic. You're in traffic. There's nothing else you can do, and getting mad about it is not going to help. Why are you crying and bitching about it? Because it gives you some control. Radical acceptance means to try to get out of traffic, but if you can't, shut the fuck up. Learn to accept it. But it's difficult to do that, so I'm going to show you what you got to do to accept it. What does it mean to accept it? Not accepting means that you're using your mind. You're saying you're creating what? A story. I'm fucking in traffic. This sucks. Blah, 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 blah. And now you're saying you're using your mind, right? And this mind is creating what? Story. What happens if you don't create that story? What tends to happen if you don't create a story of the situation? Nothing. You're just there. What really makes you angry is not the situation itself. It's your interpretation of the situation. So what you have to do is to remove attention from the source of its interpretation, which is the mind. But most of the time, we're just focusing on the mind. Right? We're focusing on the mind. So anything that pops up, we react to it. So how do you do that? You got to strip away attention from the mind. And that is possible. It's not about thinking about two things. It's about focusing on one thing. Focusing on something that's in the present moment. So that starts with bringing awareness to your physical sensation as they react to the events. Simply bringing awareness. Rather than bringing awareness to the mental stimulus, the objects that arise in your mind, the thoughts, the images, simply become aware of how put your primary mode of attention on your sensation, your reaction to the mental stimulus. Why? Because you want to experience. Living is not about thinking. Living, because when you were a child, you didn't think. You didn't think. You were a child. You couldn't formulate language. But you were alive. The essence of being alive is experiencing your senses. But emotions cloud our senses so that we cannot experience them as fully as possible. Life is about experiencing your senses. The more you experience your senses, the more alive you are. But your thoughts and emotions remove your attention from the present moment, and as a result, anything that arises in your mind, you believe in and you react to. And the mind sees threats everywhere because it sees itself as a separate entity from existence. It sees itself as an identity. So what you have to do is stop feeding it through bringing your attention away from your thoughts I suck, and you notice it and you follow it, to the present moment, which is anything that's happening, your body, anything that's in your senses, noticing the sounds, your body, your thoughts, your breath. I mean, not your thoughts, your eyes. I mean, your visions, and all that sort of stuff. And so that's the reason why you're not present, because you are distractions by your thoughts and the judgments of the present moment. So you see the same world. You see the same world everywhere. You even create that same world when it's not there. That's because you're so identified with how you see yourself. So when you're depressed and you're a depressed person, because you're not present, you're more living in your thoughts. You see depression through those lenses. You see the world through those lenses. And so you're in a bad mood all the time, because everywhere you go, you're depressed. And so what's really causing your depression is the labeling of good and bad. Not only to the situations, but to the emotions itself. Depression is just an emotion, like a physical sensation, right? But your thought is what gives it meaning. It's not just depression, it's your life story. So it's the mind's tendency to label things as good and bad, pleasure or displeasure, unpleasant. And it triggers a chain of reaction of thought and emotions. The judgment triggers a certain chain of reaction. You see, rather than reacting, what I want you to do is observe the chain of reaction by focusing on your body, the sensation, rather than the judgment. You see, in order for this to work, you got to take away your attention from the objects that arise in your consciousness and bring awareness to what's going on right now, and noticing how your body is reacting to your thoughts and emotions. So the thing is that if you don't do that, you're going to be led by that stream of thought and emotion. You're going to go deeply into it and kind of ride that wave, and whatever it takes you, you might love it because it might have a lot of highs, but then when the lows come, you can't escape because you're already in it. With the good comes the bad. You see, so this also like I said, this also even goes to the good sensations. Like when good things happen. When good things happen, you like it, so you hold on to it. Like, oh, it's mine. You see? And so that holding on to it, what happens? It has a low, which is when it goes away, what happens? You have a low and you feel unhappy. So that's all because of the judgment. That's all because you say, you want to be present during the bad moments, but you don't want to be present during the good moments. It's like this channel. I'm aware that the success in this channel could easily create an ego out of this. I could start saying that. I could start acting like I'm the shit. Like, oh yeah, look at me, 6,000 subscribers. Oh, I'm so much better than y'all. What do you have? You work 9 to 5? Ha, bitches! Like, you really, if you don't notice yourself doing that, if I just ride this wave, this excitement, and it's pleasurable, and I would love to ride it, but I'm aware of what tends to happen. Is that you get used to the stimulus, and it doesn't make you happy anymore. And then you're like, oh shit, wow, I was in the mode of looking for happiness, and now you don't find it. And now you look for more happiness on the outside. So what you have to do is notice yourself being attracted to those to those thoughts and images that attracts your attention. It could either be bad because of fear or good because of pleasure. Because we don't want the bad. We don't notice that the good is also brings the bad. So even when good things happen, you gotta become aware of it, because if it leaves you, you're gonna be sad. The same thing with relationships. You go in it, yeah, it's making you happy, but notice yourself, stop yourself whenever you notice yourself seeing them as your symbol of happiness. Like, oh, when I'm with them, I'm only happy when I'm around them. You see, so because if you hold on to it, observe. See, when you're noticing yourself being attached to someone, notice the thoughts that arise that causes you to feel attached. Just notice the way your body reacts to loving someone. The way your body reacts to getting rejected. The way your body reacts to being lonely. The way your body reacts to depression. Don't say I feel sad. Say my body feels sad. You see? And so when you observe it, you don't judge it. Because when you just judge it, this is bad, you're not really observing it. You're saying, this is bad, well, I'm not even going to look at it. Now you're saying, what is it? You just look. Notice the sensation, notice the pressure. And you start just notice that it's not like when you think of emotion, you think of like this like spiritual thing, but in reality, like it's just a physical sensation, like the tightening up of a couple of muscles, and that's it. Some blood in a specific area of my chest, like that's all that is. I mean, it's nothing magical. It feels like it. So when you just see it as it is, depression just looks like a physical sensation. There's no story. Yeah, you're gonna have the story, but then you just observe it, just like you're observing the physical sensation, and you start decompartmentalizing this thing you called your life story while you're depressed. You just start seeing that these are just things, like things. But the only way for you to do that is remove your attention from the source of your happiness, which is the thoughts. And again, like your mind, you're not your mind. You're the one who has the mind, the observer. The silent witness. You cannot respond. You could just see. So all you have to do is that when you're depressed, even when you're not depressed, when you're happy, because we only do this when we're depressed. See, the key is just to do it during the highs. What you have to do is observe yourself being happy, being sad, being depressed. Observe yourself being happy and holding on to that thing that makes you happy, and noticing, oh shit, I'm back in that pattern. Because it's not that you're happy, it's the habit of holding on to what you like and and trying to let go of what you don't like. It means that you have rules to live life. It means that you're not really accepting life for what it is. If you reject life, life is going to reject you. If you're going to accept life, you're going to have to accept every aspect of life, the good and the bad. And when you do that, life is going to work for you. You're not going to have a lot of bitterness in you. You're going to stop looking into the past for your happiness, because the past was all in your mind. Think about that. Let's erase all of the memories anyone ever has. The past doesn't exist, because the past exists in our minds. So when we're not letting go of the past, which just means we have become identified with our minds. And how do you become disidentified from your mind? You simply observe it. That's all. Simply observe your mind. Observe the mind like you listen to the radio. Like you just, okay, let me see. Like you take a couple seconds, you sit down, and you just say to yourself, you know what? I'm going to listen to the radio of my mind. And you just listen. You listen to the thoughts. Right? And then you notice the physical sensations that arises from those thoughts. Notice the physical sensation. Notice how it feels. And notice the space around those emotions. Right? And then you start noticing that, holy shit, like who I am is usually linked up with my thoughts and emotions. And now suddenly you start noticing that those thoughts and emotions are just fucking, they're nothing. They're just things. So who the hell are you? You're the observer. But who the fuck is the observer? It's consciousness, the now, the present moment. That's who you are. And so when you're unhappy, the brain tries to find happiness by creating a story. That's how it's supposed to be done. Like it tries to, if you're not happy, it tries to help you out through creating a story. But it doesn't know that if the story is not created, you're going to feel sad. It's made that way because if you don't want something enough, that means that if you want something, that means that there is a negative side to it. So that's how the brain forces you to continue to survive through giving you intense desire for something. You see, it's normal. But the problem is that even though that's helping you survive, it's not helping to make you sad, because when you don't get it, you feel sad. I mean, your brain is not there to make you happy. Your brain is not there to make you happy. So you have to realize that the things that happen is not you who's reacting, it's just your body. So you need to learn to differentiate yourself from the observer and the body. So when you feel sad and depressed, realize that it's your brain. Like, it's just your brain, it's not you. So just sit down and observe what's going on. And just notice the sensation. Notice everything that's going on. Observe, notice yourself seeing. Become aware of being aware. Notice how it feels to be alive. And use all of your senses. You notice the lights, the colors, the shadows, the sound, the silence. Just listen to the quietest sound in the room. Like, just do it right now. Listen to the quietest sound. And if you don't see it, look for it. And what you're going to notice is that your mind is more quiet. You know? It's kind of like, it really feels like it just slows down. And so that's when you realize that your problem is not right now. Your problem is just in your mind, in time. But when you remove your attention from your mind to your senses and feel them fully, you're going to be more present. You see, and as you notice, the way I even talk now even changes. Like, there's a real transformation that happens when you become more present. You become more laser focused. See, and your energy is more relaxed. And this is something that I even teach guys. When you're talking to a woman, be more present. Because you're going to have more of a, you're going to be more like people feel mesmerized around you. And that's because you're not paying attention to anything else. Your attention is fully on the person. Fully in the present moment. Your eye contact is stronger. You feel more relaxed. And people feel more relaxed around you. And so that's how you do it. And so, the more you focus your attention on what's going on in your mind, the more you're going to suffer. So just notice and observe the mind. All you have to do is this. See. And stop trying to feel better. Stop trying to feel better. Notice how, just stop trying to feel better right now. Like, I want you to try this right now for like 10 seconds. Stop trying to feel better. Like, you know what I'm talking about. Like, you feel that emotion, you're like, oh fuck, I don't want to feel it. Just stop trying to feel better for like 10 seconds and notice how that feels right now. Just do it. Just like, feel this. Just feel it. And you notice how it's just there. You know, it's like you're not desperate to not feel it, you just feel it. So you ride that. And some days you're going to feel it, some days you're not. When you feel really depressed, you just sit down and observe it. And that's how it's done. Go read The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. That talks about that. And that's pretty much how I do it. Alright? And when I feel sad, but I accept it. It's like being in traffic. Yeah, I'm in traffic, but that's okay. It's okay. And that's how you accept it. Alright? Anyways, this is Alex from Mindful Attraction 2.0. Those who need coaching, let me know. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.